Hey there friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm back with another layout for the Hip Kit Club, and this is my first layout using the new 2018 December kits, and they are so pretty, full of Christmas and holiday goodies. And I'm going to start this page off with one of the 12 freebie subscriber cut files for this month. It's a cute tree. And then I have these color photos of me and my daughter Reese from a few years ago, and there's a lot of red in these photos, and for me, red is probably one of the hardest colors to work with. I don't know why, it just is. But I challenge myself to keep these photos in color since red is a big color of Christmas time, and I thought I would try to go a little more traditional for this one. I tend to like to use non-traditional colors on most of my Christmas pages, but every now and then I do like to go traditional, and so I thought I would attempt that and see what happens. And this layout's going to take some twists and turns. That seems to be the case lately for me, and that's okay because I really love the end result. Even though the process is a little bit messy and you're probably going to go through another phase of what in the heck is she doing, but it's all good. I love how it turns out. So this pattern paper is one of the exclusive papers. It's called Sweater Weather, and it's almost a light pink color with this really pretty sweater design. I think all but one of the pattern papers are exclusive this month, and they're so pretty. Lots of reds, greens, light blues, navy blues, really pretty. And this one is perfect for a background. So I just added some white gesso there to kind of give the paper a little bit of prep, so my ink or paint or water is not going to just soak right through, and I'm going to be able to let it run and blend and just kind of mix together. But before I go to the background, I changed my mind and thought, well, let me paint these trees first, because my first thought was I want some green trees. Since I've got red and neutrals in my photos, I thought green trees would be pretty. So this color that I'm using here is in this month's color kit, and it's a Shimmers. It's an Inklings, and it's called the Holly and the Ivy, and it is perfect for Christmas. And all I'm doing here is adding some green to the trees. I'm not trying to color it all the same tone. I'm adding in a little bit of water to lighten up some areas, and then the more the water soaks into the paint in the container, the thicker and darker it's gonna get. And so that's the beauty of these shimmers, is you can get a lot of different tones and shades from just one color. So this is just the one color here, and I did both trees, and since this is an Inklings, you're gonna get a really pretty shimmer from the color. So I decided to take it a step further and add some more shimmers from previous color kits. I added in Well Blue Me Down, which is a colorings, and then the Vibes Deep Blue Sea, which is that deep blue color that we got last month. And then this was from a few kits ago. It's the Shimmers Original, and it's called It's Meant to Be, and it's a thick, chunky, really glittery light mint color. And I just thought it would add some pretty shine and sparkle to the trees. So I do that to both trees, and they turn out really pretty. And so I'm going to let them dry and then work on my background. And so if you saw my page from last week, I had all the dark green trees with the light blue background kind of representing a sky. And so I thought I would kind of go with that same color scheme to begin with. And I pulled out the Ride the Tide creamies from last month, and I wanted to roll it on with a brayer just to spread it a little thin, but it just spread it out a little too thin, and it made it too light, and you really can't even tell that it's blue. So I start to add in more colors. That was a spray of the Well Blue Me Down, which is more of an aqua, and then I bring the trees back over and see what it looks like. Then I decide, well, maybe I should add some pink. And here, you know, I already said I was going to go traditional. I'm already changing my mind. And so what happens when I add the pink to the blue that's not completely dry, I get more of a purpley pink. And that is definitely not what I was going for. Don't like that at all. It looks terrible with the red. It looks terrible with those green trees. So yeah, what do I do to save it? White gesso, hello. I cannot live without gesso. I swear I use gesso to fix everything. So I'm just going to smudge some more gesso down to kind of white out that pink purpley color and continue. So what am I going to do next? Yeah, I think you're probably going through the phase of what in the heck is she doing again? I think lately most of my layouts have that phase where it's like, what is happening here? Yeah, I decided to pull out some plastic The gesso wasn't completely dry, and so a lot of the gesso came up. And what do? I just keep spraying, I let it dry, I keep working, and now this does not look good. Now I have green trees on top of basically the same color on the background, and they blended in too much. So I thought, that's not going to work. So I decided I needed a little bit of something else besides blue or aqua. And so I go for the cotton candy spritz, which we got several kits ago. And I add that over to the right. And I just want a pop of light pink, and you're going to be able to see it through the trees. But that's not good enough. I have to keep going. I spent way too much time on this background. Yeah. You wouldn't believe the layers of paint and gesso on this poor piece of pattern paper that's probably thinking, I did not sign up for this. What is this woman doing to me? I'm just a scrapbook piece of paper. I'm not a canvas. But yeah, I keep going. And this piece of paper was a trooper. Now let me tell you about that red color that I just added. That's from this month also. It's a creamies, and it's called Red Necking, and it is true red. It's gorgeous, but it's very bold. So if you're going to use it, beware that a little bit will do you. And I just added a little bit of it there, and it kind of softened up to a reddish pink. Now this green color that I'm using here is from my stash, and it is a Vibes. I think it's a Vibes. It's called Elfin Magic. And it was just the right amount of green. And I know you're thinking still, what is happening here? But bear with me here. Yeah. I think you're going to be disappointed that I turn the Christmas trees over and use the white side after all of that pretty green and all of the paint that I added to make them green. I'm not even going to use those because totally clashes with the background. So here's what's going to happen now. Gesso, surprise. I'm just going to roll some gesso over the backs of these trees because I'm not throwing them away. My cameo took the time to cut them, and I was not about to do it again. So I'm going to salvage these one way or the other. And since I have all these little loops and pieces cut out of these trees, it would take too long to smudge this on with my hand, so my brayer was perfect. So I'm just going to smudge it on just to give them a little bit more... I guess to make them a little more stiff and a little more rigid, because I had painted the other side. They were still a little bit kind of flimsy. So yeah, we're going to go with this. And right now I'm thinking I don't even like this, but I did let them dry, and I did some stitching to kind of give some detail and texture to these white trees, even though they're so pretty. But yeah, it doesn't go with the background, and I didn't feel like making another background. And so this was a challenge. I'm like, I'm going to make this work one way or the other. So I pulled out some white acrylic paint, and I'm just going to sort of cover up some of the areas where the green kind of leaked onto the back. Excuse me. And now I'm going to take that same white acrylic paint and flick some snow onto the background. I've been doing this lately on some of my other Christmas pages, and I think this is the fastest, easiest, and best way to add white dots to your page. Just water down some acrylic paint, and it's going to dry white, because you know a lot of white sprays tend to soak right through and dry, and you can't even see it, but the white acrylic paint does a great job. So the trees aren't done. I'm going to add a little bit of gold. That's the Minor 49er, just to add some shine, but they're mostly going to stay white. And things are going to start to change here. I think you're going to start to think, okay, this isn't as bad as I thought. This is a Project Life card. Again, they're always exclusive, so you can only get these at Hip Kits. And I cut out that really pretty oval. I'm going to use that as an embellishment, and it's a kind of a gold color. And I'm going to keep my photos in a vertical line, but I wanted to add that little green and red holly jolly piece. And if I left the 3 pictures together, it would have covered up a lot of the picture or someone's head. So I just sliced the bottom picture off to make the strip look a little bit longer, and that way I can add in the holly jolly. And then over on the sides, I'm going to add in some of the poinsettia, or poinsettia, however I've heard it pronounced both ways, the red flower of Christmas, die cuts on both sides, and a couple of other little sprigs. And then I'm going to use the blue basically the piece, whatever I had left over from that Project Life card, as a layer, because I do want to pull in a little bit more of that pretty light blue color. And for the most part, I would call this traditional colors. I did add quite a bit of blue and that little pop of pink over on the right, but I think when you see the finished product or the finished layout, it looks more traditional than other layouts that I've made. So I'm going to pop the whole photo strip up with some foam just to give it a little bit of depth and dimension. And I'm going to put that oval right on top of the middle photo. And it's very small and subtle, so it's not really covering anything up. Really can't even see it from here, but it's very thin. What else am I going to do? I'm going to continue to add a little bit more light blue from another Project Life card down all the way to the bottom of the photo strip. And I like how this is looking. I'm glad I went with the white trees. At first, I was very hesitant, but I feel like when I made the background pretty much the same color, the trees just got lost in it. And I really love making my own backgrounds, and I didn't just want to use a solid background. I really love how the paint looks behind there. Now this is a set of chipboard stickers, and those are also exclusive. I'm going to use some of the gold foiled stars to put at the top of the trees. And I think the trees are the only thing that's glued down at this point. Now I am going to add some thread. I can't believe I'm actually using red thread. Red is, like I said earlier, it's so hard for me. I don't know. It's just such a bold color, and hard for me to work with sometimes. Now if I'm working with it in, a rainbow type of layout, it's one thing, but for starters, red and green together, to me, I don't know who invented red and green as Christmas colors together, but I honestly just don't like red and green together. It's not my favorite color combo, but for Christmas, those are the colors, and so you have to kind of make them work. And when you add flowers in, anything goes with green when you're talking flowers, because leaves are green. And so when you've got red flowers and green leaves, it sort of helps it, I think, because that's something that you would still see in real life, as a color scheme together. But I just tend to, if you've seen my layouts before, I tend to go for summery colors, and red to me is just so loud, but I use it sparingly. I don't feel like I overdid it in this layout, but I wanted to work with it since we did have on red shirts, and I feel like it just adds the right pop of Christmas colors. So over on the left, I debated about whether cutting another Christmas tree and running it off the page, and honestly I just did not feel like cranking up my Cameo again and doing it again, because I'd already shut down the software and I did not feel like opening it up again. So I thought, no, I'm just going to make a cluster. I'm going to use embellishments and create a little cluster. And so that's what I did. And I pulled out another chipboard piece, which is that gold foiled oval, and another poinsettia and some puffy stickers and a little circle die cut with a Christmas tree in the middle. These are also exclusive, and they are gold metallic puffy stickers, but they're a little too bright, shiny, brassy gold for what I was going for on this layout. And so let me show you the easiest trick to tone it down. Smudge some gesso over it, and then just use your finger and smudge some gesso on it, and then just take a napkin and kind of dab it up, and it's still gold, but it's just more of like a matte toned down gold. And I was very impressed with how easy it was to do that. And so I'm going to do the same thing to those stars, and to this oval over here, because it's gold foil too. And sometimes gold is it's so brassy and bright, and just kind of can overpower things on the layout. And so I think by toning it down a little bit, it just really makes everything kind of gel together. And I love using gold and silver on Christmas pages, because it just, you got to have that sparkle and shine. So I added some of the Minor 49er splatters, and then these are some more exclusive puffy stickers. There's 4 different colors. There is red and green, and then I think blue, light blue and wood grain. And so my title is just going to be Oh So Cozy, And I'm going to make sure that I add glue behind all of those puppy stickers because I have so much gesso and paint on there that nothing wanted to stick to it. More things I was excited about in this kit, sequins. We haven't had sequins in a while, and so I'm going to use sequins, some of the blue ones, kind of scattered all over the trees to kind of represent ornaments or lights, and then a couple over on the left, as well as a couple more little sprigs of red and green. And then I'm going to cut off everything that's hanging off the edge. And I think I'm getting close to being done. I'm going to add my journaling lines and then use my gold metallic pen that I got from Michael's down there underneath the pictures. And I think that's it. That's the final layout. I really love how it turned out, even though the process was a bit hairy, scary. I'm glad I went with the light trees on the darker background, or the mixed media background. I think the trees stand off the page a little bit more, and I just love all of these greens and blues, and I think this is more of a traditional layout compared to some of my other ones, and it was fun to do. It was a challenge, but you know, I was kind of proud of myself for using red, since red is kind of my color. But anyway, let me know if you have any questions. I hope you got your December kits. They have definitely been shipped, so keep an eye out for it if you haven't gotten it yet, and stay tuned because I'm sure the design team will be having lots of projects to share with you. So I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week. Thanks so much.